The Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, is and should be ruled unconstitutional. Our reasoning can be found in one of the key parts of Obamacare known as the individual mandate. An individual mandate is defined as a requirement by a government that certain individual citizens purchase or otherwise obtain a good or a service. Supporters of Obamacare and the individual mandate cite two clauses in the Constitution, the Commerce Clause and the Necessary and Proper Clause, as justification for the individual mandate. The Commerce Clause gives Congress the authority to regulate interstate commerce, yet it does not provide Congress with the powers to force a citizen to buy a certain good or service. Although Congress has the power to regulate commerce between the states, it does not have the power to order commerce into existence so that it can regulate it. By compelling Americans to purchase health insurance, this is precisely what the individual mandate does. The second clause used in support of Obamacare, the Necessary and Proper Clause, grants congressional powers that are not necessarily expressly written into the Constitution, but trace their existence to an enumerated power. In other words, mandating that a person must buy health insurance needs to be justified in the first place by one of the powers with which Congress is granted through the Constitution. The individual mandate is neither necessary nor proper in order to carry out any of the powers with which Congress is entrusted. In addition to being unconstitutional, Obamacare is an assault on individual liberty. The individual mandate forces citizens to pay for a service, no matter if they want that service or not. It takes away their liberty to make their own decisions regarding their own health care. That may be why 67% of Americans agree that the individual mandate should be scrapped. In addition to the individual mandate, Obamacare creates the Independent Payment Advisory Board, or IPAB, which is an unaccountable federal organization with unbridled power that will eventually lead to rationing of care and cuts in Medicare and Medicaid. Obamacare can also be seen as an assault on religious freedom. It forces religious institutions to provide employees with health insurance that covers, at no cost, contraception, sterilization, and abortion against a religion's core moral beliefs and laughs in the face of the First Amendment. These are just some of the freedoms that Obamacare will trample on if it is in fact upheld. Finally, the Nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office, or CBO, just 2 weeks ago, came out with new statistics regarding Obamacare. It will cost $1.76 trillion over the next 10 years, almost $1 trillion more than was originally projected. 2 million fewer people will be covered by 2016. 4 million people will lose their jobs, will lose their employee-sponsored health care by 2016. Up from 1 million originally forecast last year. And despite these losses, an additional 1 to 2 million people less will have access to Obamacare. This does not sound like an improvement over the current system. No one on the stage would argue that healthcare in the United States is perfect. But where we differ from the college Democrats is that instead of supporting Obamacare, we support a separation of insurance and state. We support allowing the healthcare industry to operate in the free market. In Pennsylvania, a citizen is limited to purchasing healthcare within state borders. If we open up competition across state lines, that competition will drive down the cost of health insurance across the United States. The free market would dismantle the archaic third-party payer model that distances patients from the cost of treatment, enabling patients to no longer be dependent on their employer or the government for their health care. We should also offer tax breaks and other incentives for people to pay for their own health care. Health care should also shift from a fundamental focus on treatment to a focus on preventative care. It is